Hey everyone, just wanted to let you know I'm insulated. Alright, today's video is how to survive during the winter temperatures. We told you we were chasing 70, we're doing a rotten job. It's going to be 21 tonight. Hey everyone, this video is about things that we've done to Maggie to make living in her during freezing temperatures a bit more comfortable. Maggie is not a four-season RV, but we didn't buy her to be in 3 feet of snow or 30 degrees below zero either.
Definitely not, but she has seen a little bit of snow.
Yes, she has. Look at it. Now, her cold weather protection is pretty much limited to heated holding tanks and a furnace. And if you need a furnace, you're not far enough south. And if you've been following us since we started our full-time adventure here, you'll also know that we're not very good at being snowbirds.
No, we're more like snow turtles.
There you go.
Because we move so slow.
But that's given us an opportunity to be through a lot of cold snaps. The coldest temperature we've been in so far is 18 degrees, but there's been a lot of nights when it's gone down into the low 20s. And some of those nights have turned into 48 hours. So we're kind of learning as we go things to do, but what we're doing, some people might say,
overkill?
Yeah, but overkill is what we do best. So let's start with the apps that we use. We have apps for extreme weather. We have apps for tornadoes, earthquakes, because since we've been on the road, we've pretty much been through all of them.
We even hit fog.
Yeah. But now one of the apps you got to pay attention to is the freezing temperatures, because where the app is getting its information from is not the campground you're in.
We've seen a difference of 2 to 10 degrees difference.
Yeah, so what you really want to have is a thermometer in your RV that gives you at least the outside temperature. Now this is the one that we use. It does the inside, the outside, and the humidity, which is important during the winter cold spell things in an RV. So we'll have a link to it in the description box down below. And if you're wondering, it is January 29th today, and check it out. We finally found 90 degrees in Florida. It only took us half the winter.
It's not really that hot. That's in the sun.
Next thing we want to talk about is water. When it gets down to freezing, 32 degrees, down to 29, to be on the safe side, we just let the water trickle from the faucet overnight.
But don't forget to open your gray tank, because if your tank is as small as our tank, you'll have a mess in the morning.
Yes, you will. You have your own little pond. Now, when the temperature hits 28 degrees or below, we just disconnect the water, we drain the hose, and we put it into the compartment. We just run off our fresh water tank. And then we wait till the next day when it warms up. We go back out there and hook everything up and start all over again. It's happened on more than one occasion, too. While we're out there hooking back up, neighbor will be sitting over at his picnic table saying, I saw you come out last night and disconnect your hose, and I was wondering if I should have done it. I should have. Mine is frozen right now, laying in the sun, thawing out. So, one of the reasons that we do it is we went to a campground, and they posted that if any damage was done to their water spigot because you were still attached to it once the temperature hit 32 or below, it's $100 charge
to fix
it. That's just more money than we want to pay. And on that note, there are also heated hoses, which would eliminate that problem, and you wouldn't have to disconnect. Our problem with it is we're cheap, they're expensive, they're also bulky, and we only stay in campgrounds for 2 to 3 weeks at a time, so
it's
just not necessary for us. The other thing that we do is we have a small heater in the water bay that will turn off automatically if it was to fall over, and have a sensor in there that allows us to monitor what the temperature is from inside Maggie. And as you can see, the day we took this picture, it was 27 degrees outside, 69 in the water bay. And Sharon and I were sitting in 63 degrees. We should have sat in the water bay, hon.
And don't forget to empty your sewer line, because that can freeze too.
Yeah, then you have a stinky, slinky popsicle.
Ew!
And speaking of water, let's talk about Maggie's water lines. They are made from what's called PEX tubing, and we believe most new RVs use this technology. The problem with a water line in an RV when it starts freezing is you have the line full of water, it's under pressure. There's no place for the water to go. As the temperature starts to drop, what happens when water freezes? It expands. Again, no place to go. It ruptures the line. The nice thing about the PEX is it's flexible. So as it starts to freeze and the water starts to expand, this is able to absorb some of that expansion. Whereas copper and PVC is a rigid pipe and it can't. So that's one of the nice things about it. One of the problems with it is if you need to make, say, a 90-degree turn, they have connectors. be a 90-degree turn. Made of plastic. Does not have the same expansion ability as the PEX tubing. So that becomes the weakest link in the water line. So what Cheryl and I wanted to do is we decided to climb under Maggie, and where the water lines come out of the water bay until they come up into the inside of Maggie, we insulated them all. And then we taped them. We made sure that we had all the connectors covered. We just wanted to, you know, well, go a little bit overboard. If you do this and you have a water line for your ice maker in your refrigerator, don't forget to do that. We even insulated the black tank spray line. Again, overkill is our specialty.
We're not going to say it was an easy project, and we did it when it was super cold, but we did get it done.
Yes, we did. And we were actually in Forest Lake, North Carolina last year when we started doing this. This has been an ongoing project. And we went out, we bought all the insulation, we got everything ready to go. We got a couple of heaters, and we went to bed that night and we set the thermostat to 55. You know, save a little bit on propane because we had the electric heaters going. We woke up in the morning and it was 50 degrees in here, and we're like, well, wait a minute, what's wrong? Let's check the furnace. Check your furnace, because our furnace wasn't working. That was absolutely crazy. It ended up being the control board, and the eye that just popped up will take you to that video. But that was kind of a shock to the system. But speaking of those other heaters that we bought, let's go and show you what we have bought to help combat the freezing cold temperatures. This is the arsenal that we use against Old Man Winter. Starting out with the vent covers, we have one for each vent. They just pop right in and they do work. And they also pop right out. We have the window insulation. We started using this last year when we were locked down in California and it was 100 degrees every single day.
Yes.
Because they both will work with heat and with cold. And the windows that we don't always look at, we normally have the shade drawn here, we just leave it in there. So it's just one less thing to do. Now, as far as our heaters go, we have 5 different heaters. We have 2 of the big ones, 3 of the small ones. If you're going to get these heaters, or use electric heaters, I should say, make sure you get the ones that have the safety feature in it. Listen, it's running. If for some reason this got knocked over, Brandy went running by it and knocked it over, when it gets to 45 degrees, it stops. So that way there, when it's laying on the ground, you don't have to worry about starting a fire.
Don't forget to test them every once in a while.
As far as the small ones go, they also have a safety feature in them. See this plunger? That plunger has to be in or it won't work. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. Because if this was to fall over, the plunger would pop out, this would stop working. Now, the reason that we have 3 small ones, the 2 big ones we use, we set the furnace to 55. Okay? Just because we want to make sure that the lines stay warm. But because of that time that the furnace didn't start, we also opened the big drawers and cabinets too, just to make sure some heat's going in there. As far as the small heaters go, this is the one that we keep in the bathroom, because it's a small area, which works very, very well. This one here is in the water bay that we've already showed you. This one here, though, is for the refrigerator. Because believe it or not, this is an absorption type refrigerator, and they don't like it when it gets cold. Once it gets down to freezing, they start throwing codes. We get to 27, 28, and this will throw a low DC code. As soon as it warms up outside again, works absolutely perfectly. So we researched it. Some people cover the top vent, some people cover the side vents. Problem is, you gotta remember to not, to uncover them, because too much heat is also bad for these. So they also put in a 100-watt light bulb to have some heat going in there, but that kind of stays in one place. So instead of covering the vents in that, we decided to just put the heater in. Because it sits way back, we turn it on, it blows out. The tubes are off to the left-hand side, the vents off to the right-hand side, and we have not had a problem since. So it seems to be working for us. But we're talking electricity. Things that heat, things that have fans, draw a lot of power. So if you don't have a kilowatt meter, this thing is great. You plug it into the wall, you plug in whatever the appliance is going to be, and it will tell you the amperage. Amperage, watts, however you want to set this up. So we actually went and wrote down on them how much they draw. Because we don't want to blow circuits. Because you put too much on one circuit, you're going to blow it. We actually have this. It's every outlet on Maggie and what circuit it's on. The way that we did it is we took one of these testers and we tested every outlet, shut off a circuit, went and tested them all again, shut off a circuit, tested them all again, shut off a circuit, and we wrote down what circuit they were on. And we made this map. Because we were popping circuits, and we wasn't sure why. Some of ours were not where they were supposed to be. So we ended up having that taken care of. But that will make sure that you don't pop circuits, because you really don't want to be doing that. The other thing that we do for a little bit of heat during the winter, we have rugs.
Yeah, we put rugs down and it keeps our feet warm.
One of the last things we're going to talk about today is condensation, because condensation is not good for RVs. And one of the biggest misconceptions out there when it comes to condensation is that your RV furnace will cause condensation inside your RV. If that was true, you would have bigger problems, because you would also have poisonous gases getting into your RV. Condensation and the gases are all vented out through the exhaust on the furnace, so don't worry about that. But speaking about the furnace, the last campground that we were at was going to charge us $3.75, I believe it was, right? A gallon for propane. So what we decided to do was we called Tractor Supply. Somebody gave us a tip, and we went there. We paid $2.59. So.
And it was right down the street.
Yeah, it was on the way to the campground. So, because they were telling us we get to the campground, we'd have to set up and then set up an appointment to drive over. If you have the small bottles, that's one thing. But Maggie's propane tank, even though it is small, it's mounted to the rig. So we didn't want to set up and then, you know, the next day go drive over and get stuff. So anyway, that's just a tip. Tractor Supply is probably going to be our go-to place now. As far as what does cause condensation, there are three main critical things that do it. Breathing. And not breathing is more critical. So you got to deal with that. Cooking is another thing, and this is how we handle that.
To keep your condensation level low, use a cover on your pans whenever possible. Make sure you're using your microwave fan or your ceiling fan when cooking to keep your humidity level low.
Showering. And this is how we handle that.
Another place you're going to get condensation is in the bathroom after a hot shower. You're in here running the hot water, trying to get the chill out of your body, and it has nowhere to go. What you want to do, believe it or not, even in freezing cold temperatures, take out the vent cover here, open the vent, turn on the fan. We even keep a small heater in here to compensate for the difference. That will help dramatically. You'd be surprised just how much. And as far as the condensation all over everything, what we do, we have a squeegee, and we just, oops, we get all the water down as much as possible into the tub, and then, I mean, we do the whole thing, don't want to make that clip too long. And then once it's all down here, do the walls too, and then we even do the floor. What we're doing is we're getting the water to go down the drain. That way there, we don't have to worry about it forming any kind of condensation. And speaking about having vents on while cooking or showering, we were curious. Check this out. We're going to take a reading here off this interior wall right next to the kitchen. It is 71 degrees currently here. Let's go up to the dash. Now you may be wondering why we're at the dash vent and what is this thing on it? Well, interestingly enough, if I open this vent up and I turn on the fantastic fan in the kitchen, check this out. Turning the fan on now.
It is sucking the cold air from outside into the rig.
So, you know it's 71 in here. If I shoot inside, there's a 10-degree difference. So, you're actually sucking the cold air in, and you're losing your heat going out the vent. But, if you keep it closed, it'll give you some protection. Alright guys, that's some of the things that we've learned over the last year and a half to live through old man winter. If you like this video, we'd appreciate that thumbs up. As always, you want to become part of the Grow and Get Gone With Us gang, right down there in the corner, just click it and you're in.
If you have any tips or tricks that you do during the winter, put them in the comments down below. Sharing is caring. Or you can still say hi.
Because we'll say hi back, we always do. Till our next video, I'm Chuck.
And I'm Cheryl.
We'll Get Gone With Us. Bye.
Bye.